I've been working on blowing this thing up for days. It's not easy, but we can choose to make it fun. All right, guys. Is this as good of an idea as I thought? Probably. I think so. All right. We've got my prop. We've got my sunflowers. I bought these for myself when I got here because we had a little bit of a rough go before arriving to here. We are in Key Largo, Florida. Intuition said so. And you can read all about how we ended up here on Planit Butter Substack. It was pretty crazy. Welcome to Planit Butter, the peanut butter dimension of art and philosophy, where I hopefully inspire you to take fun seriously by being Intucentric. I'm Jordan Alexandra Blizzard Planet. This is from my planet to yours. Each week we explore new ways of relating Planit Butter's nonlinear thinking lens to modern society. Every episode is designed to provoke consciousness through entertaining perspectives and applied philosophy. The philosophy on Planit Butter is Intucentricism. Say it with me. Intu-centric-ism. Intucentricism. You'll catch on quick. Thanks for joining me in our 101st episode. That's kind of a mouthful. 101st, 101, our 101 episode. We're going to have to figure something out because I love counting the episodes, at least, not in general. In general, I actually don't really care to count. All right. Our 101st, it doesn't feel right. Our 101st episode, where we'll continue to relate Planit Butter's philosophy to Earth's current society with society's measurement of being a genius, the Mensa test. As always, email me any questions you have about your world or Planit Butter's life approach. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. All right, guys, story time. So we're going to take it back a minute to LA. The night before I left LA, I booked my flight to Miami. They gave me a little bit of a middle seat situation. And when I arrived at the airport, at the gate, I should say, I went to ask the people if they could move my seat to, a window or an aisle. And I was blatantly ignored. So something was like, you're not supposed to move seats. And so I'm like, okay, fine, cool. Something cool will happen because I'm meant to sit in this seat. And sure enough, I ended up sitting next to this dude who we spoke the entire flight, a very intellectually stimulating conversation. He asked a lot of great questions about Planit Butter, the philosophy, the life approach, being the philosophy. He seemed very fascinated. And I was curious about his way of approaching life as well, of course, because then I can infuse it into Planit Butter's framework and reflect on it and take in the world around me. But we literally spoke the entire 6 hours because of his many questions, frankly, and I really appreciated it. And within that, he asked me, in all of my travels, what's the percentage of conversations that I have that intellectually stimulate me to the degree that I crave? And I was like, well, I'm not really a percentage chickie, so I'm not really going to put a number on it like that. But I do have a lot of intellectually stimulating conversations. And I suppose that's just because that's like my comfort level, is having a more intellectual or philosophical, if you will, conversation. To answer to the degree that I'm craving, my mind immediately just went to, well, honestly, only my romantic partner would be able to satisfy that, and he's not here yet. So to the degree that I'm craving is a totally different game than just, day-to-day intellectually stimulating conversations. But I do have a lot of intellectually stimulating conversations, and I'm very impressed with the Earth, honestly, all the different cultures that I've been to, the amount of people who are intellectually stimulated within themselves and are actually mutually seeking to be intellectually stimulated in the way that I tend to lead with, is what I find, because more often than not, the conversations that I find myself in that are intellectually stimulating, I find that other people have appreciated me for being willing to go there with them. And my hope is to inspire more people to be willing to go there, because I think everybody wants that intellectual stimulation because we all have it within ourselves. And so that brings me to the next phase of this. This gentleman also, whoa, dragonfly, hi. This gentleman also asked me if I've ever taken an IQ test, and I don't believe I have. And so I said no, and it got me spinning about thinking how fun it would be to take an IQ test, an EQ test, what's it called? A test for autism, a test for ADHD, a test for dyslexia, like all these types of things, because I've actually never been tested, and I really do think I could, for lack of a better word, pass for all of these things, these labels. And the thing is, the reason I wanted to even take them, the idea sparked because I think it would be so beneficial to sit here on my show as an adult, having never been tested, and be tested with the backing to say, guys, look at this. I've never been tested, so I don't walk around labeling myself with these things. And yet I technically qualify for these things. And now this isn't to take away from the more severe side of any of these things, whatever that severity might mean to somebody out there. But the thing is, what Planit Butter really always tries endlessly to drive home is that everybody has their own unique genius. Truly, being Intu-centric is also a label to identify a way of being. However, it's a label that is entirely empowering and grounded in your unique operating system. So it's an operating system provided to you to fundamentally navigate and operate within your world. And even if you feel creatively inspired, to name your world. So I got all excited thinking about taking all these tests and doing this. And boom, we're in Miami. We land, off I go. I think the next day I was watching the Stephen Hawking documentary, which I told you guys a few episodes back, relating Stephen Hawking's theory about time and how Planit Butter's embodiment and expression of time and alignment, how we are very aligned and yet entirely, of course, different. But so the Stephen Hawking, there's the movie and then there's the documentary. Now, or the film and the document, whatever you want to call it. The documentary wasn't really stimulating for me because it was literally the same as the movie, just in interview form. So I just felt like I had already seen it. However, in the documentary, which I maybe missed in the film, they mentioned the Mensa test. And that was the first time I ever heard of it. So I look up the Mensa test. And now for those of you who maybe don't know it, much like I didn't, let me read to you the explanation. The Mensa test started in 1946 in Oxford, England, founded by Roland Barrel and Lancelot Ware, who created the Society for People with High Intelligence Quotients, IQs. The test itself is an IQ test designed to measure cognitive abilities like logic, spatial awareness, and verbal comprehension, used to qualify for membership in the organization Mensa. To join, a person must score at or above the 98th percentile on a qualifying IQ test, meaning they have a higher score than at least 98% of the population. The Mensa admission test consists of multiple choice questions that gradually increase in difficulty and is available at approved testing facilities. Now, additionally, by the way, after the fact of taking it and all the things, I've further inquired because I wanted to go in blind to the test. So I actually didn't look up what what was included in the test, the types of questions. Like, I didn't look up anything except for, oh, it's a genius test, it's international. I just said, cool, I'm going to take that. So that felt like my cue, right? The guy, I couldn't move seats. The guy planted this seed. I had the ideas, and then I end up, boom, Mensa test, curious, look it up, and then here we are. So I'm like, let's sign up, let's take this test. And my intention with the test was, honestly, I was hoping I failed, quote unquote. I'm not a genius according to these societal standards of Mensa. I was hoping to pass, quote unquote, and be considered a genius by society, because then maybe you guys would listen to me more in saying that this test is bullshit, frankly, but that didn't pan out. So you're just gonna have to trust me and Planit Butter and being Intucentric in everything that I'm saying, and hopefully resonates with you. So here's the thing though, the Mensa test itself is not frequently updated, and American Mensa and other Mensa organizations accept a wide variety of standardized, professionally developed intelligence tests rather than creating their own unique tests. So the tests aren't unique, they're not frequently updated. It was invented in 1940 fuck all. Like, where are my forward thinkers and open minds, guys? Let's go to Planit Butter. All right, so that said, I'm also not supposed to really say I signed some stuff. You're not supposed to talk about what's on the test and whatever, but I'm going to do kind of, I want to be as respectful as possible to that. And also, I do think the test is bullshit. And if you look up anything, you could find the types of questions and sample tests and practice tests and all the things. So I'm not really doing anything so crazy, except asking and inviting everybody to think a little differently. So I signed up to take the test. I was meant to hear back from them within 24 hours, didn't. 3 days later, I follow up with them. They answer for me to schedule the test. I had a really crazy day that day, so I didn't make the time to prioritize it. And then that night, I woke up in the middle of the night being like, schedule the test. So I literally, in the middle of the night, go to the other room, get my phone, and sign up to schedule the test. And I set the boundary, as we do, because the intuition said, schedule a test. And the boundary was, it needs to be Thursday, tomorrow, Miami. And if my boundaries were respected, then the action became taking the test. Yeah. So intuition, sensations, action, sensations again. So intuition was take the test. Sensations was excited. Action was get out of bed, check the phone, schedule the test. The boundary was this day, this location. So my confidence became, if that's the time, we take that action. So that's the 3 core methods and the Planit Butter jet ring of consciousness laying over each other as they do. Because Planit Butter jet ring of consciousness is our cycle for decision making. Intuition, sensations, action, sensations again. It's a cycle. You repeat, you repeat, you repeat. And our intuition and sensations always correlate to our boundaries and inform our confidence and reflect whether or not we are in alignment or need to revisit our boundaries. Email me if you have any questions. myplanetsyours@gmail.com. So I go to take this test. That Thursday was the only slot available in Miami. So I was like, boom, that's our test. I go to Miami-Dade College. I haven't been on a college campus in 10 years, almost 8 years. I could not stop laughing. By the way, beautiful campus, the North Campus, so gorgeous. There's this huge, beautiful fountain. There's these really beautiful rocking chairs that I sat in, did my little breath play before going into the test. And I dressed so cute. I was like in my bright purple skirt, had my like navy crew neck top tucked in, and this big layered colorful chain necklace you guys have probably seen, my earrings. So I'm like dressed to the nines for this genius test because duh, I always want to dress great. And how funny is it to just like show up dressed really well for like a really nerdy test, you know? Nerdy. Anyway, I go in and I'm literally giggling when I check in because I'm like, I'm here for the Mensa test because I thought it was so ridiculous. And I'm like, I so don't give a flying F about this, but it's for the pod. So I go in, I take the test, and mind you, in the middle of the test, the computer shuts down on me. And I'm like, of course it does. I don't care, but like, of course it does. And then the chick has to come in, fix that. I finish the test, and the computer breaks again at the end. It like glitches, so I'm sitting there for another 30 minutes or whatever, waiting for them to make sure the test went through. It was so funny. Anyway, now the test itself, the juice that we're here for. They gave you a note paper to help yourself through the test, and I was writing down all my opinions about the test. And like, it's a scratch paper to help you answer the questions, but I'm writing down my fucking opinion about everything about the test, what I don't agree with, what I do agree with, what I like, what I don't like, because pod. But they wouldn't let me keep those notes because of like cheating. I'm like, you can read this. It's my critique of this Mensa test, so let me take it. Thank you. But they wouldn't, and I understood why. So quickly, I like memorized the best I could, which I don't recommend memorization, but I like see my notes, quickly put them here, and also obviously thereafter whatever I retain from the test and my feelings about it will be here. So I don't know what I can say or can't say, but I'm going to say what I want to say as respectfully as possible. The reason I think Mensa, this test, was total bullshit for testing intelligence is because, one, fundamentally, I believe everybody to have their own unique genius, and you access it through being Intucentric. And Planit Butter's redefinition of being a genius is an individual who views the earth as a playground and commits to playing. Now, the commitment is what makes you a genius, because you are committing to your own alignment, your own game, your own way of being Intucentric. And naturally, the result is becoming a genius, because you are embodying and persistently practicing, honing in on your individual skill set, optimizing it, maximizing it, and playing your little heart out, because ourselves and time are the only two things we fundamentally have in this lifetime. The option for personal responsibility and alignment. Read the book, Intucentric, Becoming a New Breed of Human Potential. So this freaking test, bullshit, because I recall in the first section, it asked for me to label, to the best of my ability, the best option that describes the name of the person that they're mentioning, which means you need to know about another human's existence who's widely known. It's like, what kind of pop culture bullshit is that? Honestly. And they're like talking about, like, it's like professional athletes, murderers, politicians, like so many different things. And I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this. I really don't. Probably not. But we honestly, Mensa, if you guys see this, let's just talk further, because I would like to improve your testing. Or just get rid of it. Let's abolish Mensa. I'm all for a high intelligent club, but like, if you were really that intelligent, you wouldn't be measuring people in this way. You wouldn't be measuring people in this way. You wouldn't be testing through written fucking tests in a college fucking classroom. Like, evolve, my God. Anyway. So, your level of knowledge of other people's existence in history does not reflect whether or not you're a genius, number one. It reflects your, I don't know, your memorization of history and your attention span to pop culture. Like, why do I need to know the name of the mass murderer from like 1935? Why does that, what does that have to do with fucking anything? And then there was this math section, and I'm like, math should not reflect somebody's levels of genius. It could reflect one person's levels of genius. It could be part of your type of genius, but to ask that of the collective population as a standard for what makes or breaks someone being a genius is outrageous. There's one, an individual's educational background contributes to that. partially, but fundamentally, some people's brains are more competent with math than others, but that doesn't mean those who are more competent with math are a genius while the others are not. That is just outrageous. Again, outdated as fuck. Then there was another section that was like, it was more pattern recognition. But again, that's not indicative of collective genius. There is no, like, the collective genius is everybody honoring their own unique genius. That's the collective genius. The measurement is everybody individually being Intucentric. Is everybody individually committing to their life to be the best life it could possibly be through play, through reflecting, through honoring boundaries, through showing up confidently, through alignment. That's your genius. Seriously. And then lastly, there was this section that was essentially just a vocabulary test. And again, it's like that is entirely dependent upon the individual's educational background, be it their culture, their family, their school system, all of these things. And like, it hurts my brain to even talk about. It really does. Your vocabulary does not reflect your intelligence. Your ability to perform math does not reflect your intelligence. Your ability to recognize patterns does not reflect your intelligence. And your ability to know the existence of humans in history from a pop culture perspective certainly does not reflect your intelligence. Now, it might for your unique genius, but these 4 sections are like encompassing different dimensions of potential aspects of an individual's genius in a fashion that is saying altogether, this is what makes somebody a genius. But it's like, there are so many ways that somebody can be a genius. So, Intucentric, Intucentric, Intucentric. Now, I want to remind you guys of a little quote from episode 96, where I said, learn something, don't memorize it, learn it, consume it, then move on. And then whatever stays is what's retained. And that becomes naturally important to you and your alignment. And that compounds into creativity. Again, being a genius through Planit Butter's lens is a person who recognizes the earth as a playground and commits to playing. How to play is by being Intucentric. Self-friendship, 3 core methods, Planit Butter jet ring of consciousness, nonlinear thinking. Personal responsibility, plus intuition, plus the universe, equals your unique genius. And now we'll close out with my now new favorite Planit Butter article from Planit Butter Substack, planetbutter.substack.com. A perspective dance with Lost. More ideal than you think. Lost. You travel the world? You must be lost. You're a little far out? You must be lost. You're off the beaten path? You must be lost. You're beating your own path? You must be lost. You're confused? You must be lost. You're confident in your confusion? You're certifiable. Society has this connotation of the word lost in relation to onward, an individual's unique evolution. Society says someone is lost when their path is more obvious in its nonlinear nature. Meaning, everyone's path is nonlinear, but some people are more willing to explore it. Over the years, a variety of people have told me I'm lost, asked if I'm lost, and I'm sure many more have quietly assumed it. Meanwhile, these same people are living by their conditioned playbook that I'm endlessly working to inspire them to become willing to rewrite. In society's connotation, I'm for fuck sure entirely not lost. I'm just participating in the most extreme form of my existence, the territory society talks about and aspires to enter. But because I actually embody it in this most extreme fashion, I'm transparent about it as I'm embodying it, and I haven't arrived in society's connotation of success. They say I'm lost. If we take society's lost and put it through Planit Butter's philosophical framework of being Intucentric, we can perspective dance lost to be the successful result. I'm not unique. I'm the first of my kind. In Off You Go, the last chapter of Intucentric, Becoming a New Breed of Human Potential, I say, what's on deck? The unknown. Imagine this. You take your time, your individual timeline. Life is the unknown. Go slow. Your pace. You are different. This is different. You cannot predict anything. It's not familiar. It's the healthiest, sexiest, most abundant life you have yet to know. You've been shown a glimpse, only a taste. You're invited to step in, step up, fall forward. End quote. In my, thankfully, living and breathing embodiment of being Intucentric, I am Planit Butter's specimen. It's like a scientific experiment, but with the universe, my existence, and Planit Butter's philosophy. I'm simultaneously living, reflecting, documenting, analyzing, articulating, and sharing the experiment and its results. And I'm for fuck sure entirely lost. The successful result of being Intucentric. It's not easy, but we can choose to make it fun. They say she's lost. I know I'm found. When I'm what they perceive to be successful, they'll say she's a pioneer. And I'll keep giggling. And one final reminder: confusion is for the curious. Practice is for the confident. And remember, nobody cares. Until they do. And by then, you'll have clarity. And that is why they will care. From my planet to yours, Jordan, Alexandra, Blizzard, Planet. All right, guys, we did it again. Remember, you're a genius if you choose to be. Email me any questions you have about your world or Planit Butter's life approach. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. Thanks for visiting Planit Butter, my world made of peanut butter, where I hopefully inspire you to take fun seriously by being Intucentric. Stick with me. I'll keep showing you how. See you Thursday. That was perfect.